presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network. Go.com.
Supercross moved into a new century, but some things defy change. A packed house, bone-crushing crashes, and bar-to-bar excitement prevailed. Tested, but not to be denied, the sport's biggest hero opened the season in dominating fashion. Tonight, Jeremy McGrath goes for the Anaheim sweep. Returning to the stadium, he has the right to call his house. Supercross has done it again. For the second consecutive weekend, a standing room only sellout at Edison International Field in Anaheim awaits the stars of Supercross. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Ekman, and welcome to the second round of the EA Sports Supercross Series. In the opening round, Jeremy McGrath had to work hard from a fifth-place start. But once he took the lead, he simply dominated the last 15 laps of the race. So much so that it brought back memories of 1996. When the question was, not would he win another Supercross, but would he ever lose a Supercross? Well, the challenge has been issued to the rest of the field. Now, what will it take to beat the best?
I'm going to, really sit down and focus on what I need to do. And I think even Jeremy said it himself occasionally in the interview that whenever I'm on, he doesn't know if he can beat me. And whenever he's on and I'm not, I know I can't beat him. So I think it's just a matter of me getting on the ball. And it's still early in the season. I'll make sure I don't get hurt, go out there and ride consistent, and it'll come around. And I think that it's going to come down to a good series.
Well, for sure we need to get out of Anaheim. He always, in the past, with the exception of last year, has been very dominant here and always made us look bad at Anaheim. So get away from Anaheim, get away from the West Coast, get back to the softer tracks, and I think a lot of guys will start to pick it up.
No, it's definitely too early to assume a runaway. I mean, it was the first race of the season. I know he came in ready. I came in ready, but, it just worked out that way. He's usually, pretty on top of his game in Anaheim and on the California, on the West Coast side. So, and then I feel a little bit better on the East Coast side. So I think it's way too early to assume a runaway, and I think we'll get after him.
Well, I'm not looking at anyone else's performance. I'm looking at my performance. Yes, there's so many incredibly talented riders out there, but this is motorsport, and anything can happen at any time. Nobody's not human here. There can be an injury, anything. All I'm doing is focusing on how well I'm prepared, being the best rider I can be, and riding the tracks as fast as I can do.
Well, I think last weekend, I think if I was in shape, I could have won that race. I was pulling away at the beginning of the race, and my arms got tight, and I started breathing hard, and I just started riding 2 weeks before that race because of my collarbone and I broke in Europe, and if I was in shape, that race would have been totally different. Not taking anything away from Jeremy, he's a great rider, but I think it's a little too early for everyone to be saying that he's going to be the champion. There's a lot of guys out there that want to win just as bad as he does, and I'm one of them, and I'm going to give it 110%, whatever it takes.
Joining us is former champion David Bailey. Now, David, back in the 80s with all the great riders that you had to battle, Rick Johnson, Jeff Ward, and Johnny O'Mara, you hate to leave out any names. What would happen if someone started to dominate like Jeremy has?
Well, I don't think we would stand for it. I mean, we would get physical out there on the racetrack. Give him a shoulder every once in a while. Bother him in practice. Start next to him. Be on his mind. I don't think Jeremy's worried about anybody else out there, and that's why he can stay so focused and do what he does well. But as soon as somebody starts to bother him a little bit, they take him out of his sync. That's the only thing I can figure.
Our colleague, Davey Coombs, is at a rather unique spot on the track.
Back in the day, tunnel jumps used to be a regular feature in Supercross. But for some reason in the 90s, the trend kind of went away. Well, Pace wanted to bring it back this year, and what it took was 600 man-hours of design and construction, 23,000 pounds of steel, and about 5 truckloads of dirt to cover. Now, the thing doesn't take very long to actually set up and disassemble, so they're also going to run it at Pontiac and at Minneapolis later in the year. How strong is this thing? Well, early in the night, most of the 250 class sat on top of it during the opening ceremonies. And if that weren't enough, former Supercross race winner and track designer Mark Barnett actually drove a gigantic bulldozer over top this thing as if he were finishing a race.
That's pretty cool. I never saw that before in Supercross. I mean, here in the US, they used to have it at Bercy when I was used to race there a couple times. But that's pretty cool. That's something new for me.
I like that it's back because it allows it to be a different track layout for a change. So, I mean, I remember riding it back in, I think in 1990 was probably last year, and I like it just because it offers a different layout.
In 1990, I remember tunnels a lot, and I won my first Supercross with a tunnel, so I have to say I like them.
Tunnel jumps are cool. You know, it just reminds me of, watching David and Ricky and Johnny and all those guys, and it makes me feel awfully nostalgic.
That was one of the things I remember about the Supercrosses, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. It seems like those things were pretty common. So I think it was something that's maybe kind of missed by the riders and maybe the fans or whatever since then.
This is my first tunnel ever. This was my first year in Paris, and they normally have it, but I think we didn't go under it this year. So my first tunnel. But it seems good, well built, and the jump's good. I was able to do a couple whips in practice, and really that's all that matters to me. Just go out and have fun. And whenever I was growing up watching Supercross, I think the thing that always stuck in my head was watching Stanton come out and just loop it into that into the Suzuki that was parked right there in the little lane in between when he was racing with Jeff Ward. But that's probably the most impressionable moment of a tunnel I ever remember.
I came underneath the tunnel jump. You hit a double coming up after coming out of the tunnel jump. My bike went all sideways in the air, and Wardy ended up winning. I ended up second. So it's fun. It brings back a little design in the track and something different. So it's good to see it back.
As we take a look at the track map, David Bailey, we've got more than the over and under. We got some vicious whoops and a big quad.
These guys have it all tonight, starting with a long start. It makes a left into the second lane there through that series of jumps before they get into the first whoop section tonight, which we've highlighted for you in blue. A right-hander onto a triple, another right-hander down there at home plate, and then the quadruple, 85 feet. These guys are jumping through the air before they wind back around to the finish line, over-under bridge, which Davey Coombs talked about earlier. Then, perhaps the toughest whoop section I've ever seen. I would say this was impossible, except Jeremy McGrath has been through there quite a few times and hasn't made one mistake yet.
Well, the second consecutive sellout crowd is anxious to see the riders try it as the racing action begins when we return to Edison International Field in Anaheim. ESPN's coverage of EA Sports Supercross is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and the 2000 Honda race team, Honda Ride Red. By Toyota, on the edge every day. And by Suzuki. During Suzuki Fest 2000, get $400 worth of free accessories and great financing on selected models. The riders are at the gate getting ready for tonight's opening qualifying heat before more than 45,000 fans here in Anaheim, California. Tonight's race is the first of 4 events that have been designated the SFX Entertainment Super Fund Bonus Races. The first tonight has been boosted to $105,000. As you can see, the winner getting an additional $20 grand. To be eligible for that bonus, you have to earn your way into the main event. Our qualifying procedure finds the top 4 finishers from 2 heats, earning a trip directly to the main event. For the rest, it's on to the semifinals where the top 5 earn the transfer. The final 2 spots on the 20-rider gate come out of the last chance qualifier. Incidentally, this is the first year Supercross riders will be riding with their permanent number plates. The single digits are reserved for former champions. Those in the past making the top 10 of the standings pick their permanent number from 10 through 99. So number 5, Mike LaRocco, will be number 5 from now on, unless, of course, he wins the championship, in which case he, like Jeremy this year, would ride with the number 1 plate. The board is up. The 30-second board is up. Now it goes sideways. Let's check out the race for the hole shot. We're underway for the first qualifying heat. In the 250s, it's Kevin Windham, number 14, taking the advantage. With number 12, that's Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke, having a second-place battle with John Dowd, number 16. And right behind him is Greg Albertine.
Albertine's got that inside line up through the whoops, though. He's able to pull up even. Looks like he's got that pass made. But those 4 guys, should they stay the way they are, would transfer directly to the main event.
Mike LaRocco is stuck back at about 10th spot. And this great crowd seeing the 250s go over that quad jump takes your breath away.
It's about 10 feet farther than what people are normally used to seeing. It's about another, I don't know, about 85 feet or so, I'd say. And these guys at some point in there in the middle are at least 35 feet off the ground.
Kevin Windham. He's carrying the banners for Honda right now, but Esmeralda out with an injury.
Carrying it proud right now. Look at the lead he's already built up. Albertine makes a nice block pass on Jimmy Button to take over second.
Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke. How do you think the 4-stroke reacts to this kind of a course? I mean, the cavernous whoops.
Well, he's got a little bit more horsepower.
Oh, Jimmy Button goes down. On the back of Larry Ward, holding up his hands. Those whoops are so deep, it's hard to see a rider down.
Well, he had a great line coming out of the corner, had a little bit more drive than Albertine did. But he just got his line crossed with Greg's, high-sided, and getting that 4-stroke started is not going to be easy. Here's another look. These guys are approaching the corner, coming off of a plateau over another jump. Jimmy came out of the corner in a different line, was trying to cross over, and they just got their wires crossed.
Yeah, despite going down twice after moving up to 5th last week, he kept that engine running and finished in 6th. As we see our leader now, Kevin Windham. Windham with about a 3-second lead on Greg Albertine in 2nd place. Windham felt he didn't run all that well last week. However, he was encouraged because he landed on the podium, not riding well.
Yeah, that is the good news. The bad news is he was a half a lap down from McGrath, who was only 2 more places ahead of him. Right now, Kevin's got it going on. He's got a 1:03 lap time as opposed to Greg, who we're looking at right now at a 1:06. So he's pretty much outclassing everyone in this heat race the way he did last week. He can ride relaxed like this in the main event. He should be okay.
The battle for 5th is on. Heath Voss and Mike LaRocco trying to move up through the ranks and get into the top 4. Right now it's Windham, Albertine, Dowd, and Phil Lawrence. Number 50, the veteran, in front of Voss and LaRocco. There's LaRocco, number 5.
This is the bubble. LaRocco has got to move up. LaRocco has got to get past Heath Voss and Phil Lawrence to make it to the main event. Otherwise, it's onto the semi. He does not want to end up there after finishing 2nd. Jeremy McGrath's on the starting line for the next heat. He's going to see the LaRocco's having a tough time, and that was his closest pursuer.
Kevin Windham is our leader. The race to the checkers when we return with more EA Sports Supercross in Anaheim. Welcome back to EA Sports Supercross from Anaheim, California. Our leader is Kevin Windham here in the qualifying race, the first of the evening. And Mike LaRocco has just made it into the 4th position, passing Phil Lawrence and grabbing that final qualifying spot for the main event. He hopes to hold on as we take a look at LaRocco, number 5. LaRocco with a good quick start, a good strong showing. 2nd place, the most encouraging part of his race opening the season last weekend was his 4th place start.
And he didn't follow that up with a good start here. I think he may have been lined up a little bit too far to the inside.
Greg Albertine in 2nd place.
That could pay off for him in the main event, though, because the way this corner is configured here, I think a lot of guys are going to start to aim more to the inside. LaRocco already tested it. Probably hopes he can just get off that gate, get a quicker reaction time next time. Albertine collects with a...
Goes for the ride, and he'll have to go to the semifinal round. So everybody moves up. John Dowd into 2nd place. Mike LaRocco all the way to 3rd, and it puts Phil Lawrence back into the transfer position. Take another look. Greg Albertine losing control.
He's coming through the whoops where it's very difficult to change your line. Thought he could just squeeze by the lap rider in those tough blocks marking the track. Not quite enough room, so he's going to have to go to the semi.
Another angle.
Now he's committed right there, thinking he had enough room. Wasn't even close.
Bruno LeBlanc on the Kawasaki getting a piece of Greg Albertine as he tries to get back into the race. So Kevin Windham having an easy time of it now with about a 6.8-second lead on John Dowd.
Everything Kevin does out there just looks so fluid. It works so well on the bike. It doesn't even look like he's trying hard.
2 laps to go for Kevin Windham. And he's off to the best start on the season of his 250 career with that 3rd place finish. He had a 4th place finish in the opener in '99, a 5th place finisher back in '98. So each year he stepped it up a notch.
No, last year actually was a pretty good ride for him, but it was the events that followed where he really started to struggle with arm pump.
White flag is out. We've got the final lap now for Kevin Windham in our opening qualifying heat.
This is going to be the section right here, Art, that's going to give riders problems all night. I think the race can be won or lost through that section. It's the toughest section of whoop-de-doos I've seen maybe ever. They're deeper and farther apart than any I've ever seen, and the riders are really struggling with it.
In the final lap, Kevin Windham now approaching many lappers, and they get out of the way. Very conscious that the leader is coming around, getting the blue flag.
I find it interesting that Kevin's best lap in his heat race was a 1:03. Right now, he's just cruising around, taking his time, looking at the track, getting ideas for the main event later, and his lap times have only dropped a couple of seconds.
Mike Larocco at a 1:04 to Kevin Windham's 1:05 per lap.
Watch this quadruple. 85 feet. They're serving pretzels up there, Art. If they're any longer, they're going to have a movie.
This is a great fans track that they've put together. Very different from the first weekend, and Kevin Windham takes the checkers for the heat win. So for Windham now, that is his 2nd heat win in 2 weeks. We'll see if he can now step it up during the main event. So in our first qualifying heat, remember only 4 riders qualify to go to the main event. The others going to the semifinal round. Kevin Windham is on top of the list with Mike Larocco, John Dowd, Stefan Roncada, a 125 rider in the East, making the final, and Phil Lawrence in 5th. Let's go down trackside to Davey Combs.
Kevin, you looked a lot more relaxed than you did in the main event last week. Really flying out there.
Yeah, I felt pretty good that time. Hopefully I can carry the momentum over to the heat, to the main. I was going to get out there and ride comfortable like I did that time and not let the pressure of McGrath and the rest of the guys get on me.
Good job, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
Our second qualifier includes 6-time champion Jeremy McGrath. Stay with us. When the gate dropped at last year's Anaheim Supercross, the battle for the win was as good as over. Honda's Ezra Lust, rider number 4, timed the gate perfectly, led the field through corner number 1, and then said goodbye. From that point, the Georgia rider was uncatchable. It's what happened behind Ezra that made the race a great one. Jimmy Button riding the 4-stroke Yamaha. Number 10 gated 2nd, but was quickly passed by Mikel Peugeot, number 5. Number 1, Jeremy McGrath, started in 5th. By the time the field reached the end of the first set of whoops, McGrath was up to 3rd. 1 lap later, same set of whoops, McGrath pinned the throttle, and Peugeot was French toast. That apparently inspired Button, or perhaps demoralized Peugeot. Regardless, with heavy-duty 4-stroke traction, Jimmy Button powered into 3rd. His drive carried him deep into the corner. Peugeot regained his position. 2 laps later, and look at the air Button gets as he passes Peugeot one more time, and this time he made it stick. Button was on a roll and had the track dialed. He ran down Jeremy McGrath, used the same inside line that propelled him past Peugeot, and making it look easy, sailed past McGrath into 2nd place. McGrath kept the pressure on, and it paid off. Button made a small mistake in a set of whoops and paid the price. When McGrath made the pass, he picked up the pace, and the rest is history. Lust was the winner, McGrath 2nd, and with his finest Supercross ride to date, Button finished 3rd. Welcome back as we get set for our 250 heat number 2. And it includes the big man, Jeremy McGrath. It's sideways. We're off and running Let's take a listen. Jeremy McGrath establishes the lead right away with Larry Ward, number 10, on Team Kawasaki. And then Damon Huffman, number 20, Team Suzuki right behind him.
Little fishtail from McGrath coming out of the first corner. He went so wide against the edge of the racetrack, the back end kicked back over. He just turned that into a cross-up, Art. Nothing bothers this guy.
Jeremy McGrath's got quite an outfit on tonight. I wonder if the price of silver went up.
Well, he's got some tassels underneath his helmet to get a close-up shot. Look for that. He's also got some chrome on his outfit. Haven't seen that before. Jeremy and his sponsors getting innovative, and why not? All eyes are on him.
Kevin Windham in the first week of action had the fastest qualifying heat, with Jeremy McGrath winning the second qualifying heat. We'll see how the times compare here in the second round.
Already through that whoop section, before they go under the tunnel, Carmichael's down. That's at the end of the whoop section. He crashed there in the final lap of practice. Had some problems and was a little concerned with it. It bites him in the first lap of the heat race. So it looks like the semi for Ricky.
He was in 5th place when he went down.
Here it is again. He's trying to run it over to the right just to have somewhere else to go from all the guys in front. He rode it out for a pretty long time, but couldn't stay on.
Landing on that sore shoulder. And our leader is the 6-time former champion and defending champ, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath really cutting a good lap time as Larry Ward now is about a half second behind. In second place, Damon Huffman still in third, but Tortelli in fourth. And Carmichael now is no longer in fifth.
I watched Jeremy attack that whoop section, stand right on the tops. I can't even, it would take me all night to tell you how hard that is to do. The first lap through there, we saw Larry Ward try to do that. He got about halfway through and started hitting the whole bump, lost all his momentum, and that's where Jeremy's making all of his time.
Huffman, number 20, trying to put some pressure on second place as Tortelli, number 21. Boy, Tortelli's really improved. He came over here as a learning experience in Supercross with great credentials in the outdoors, of course, a multi-champion in the World Motocross Championships. But if the first round is any indication, Sebastian is picking up on this Supercross pretty rapidly.
He is, and he really just came in here quiet as well. I mean, I don't think very many people, myself included, expected him to be up on the podium or anywhere close, but he was very close to his teammate Windham in fourth.
Tortelli trying to put the heat on Damon Huffman, number 20. Huffman moving back to Team Suzuki after 3 seasons with Kawasaki. He's struggling really to regain the form that he had when he won back-to-back 125 titles on that Suzuki in 94 and 95. Tortelli with a good hop on that final 2, but Damon Huffman getting good momentum through the berm.
I think Damon's good spot out here on the racetrack is that huge section of whoops, which most riders, I think they come into the corner before that and take a deep breath and go, okay, here we go again. For most guys, 20 laps through there would be enough. And I think Damon's able to relax a little bit. He's taller and he lets that bike work underneath him very well.
Jeremy McGrath, his teammate Tim Ferry, is having a tough time of it. Let's check it out in the whoops, number 15 on the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha.
Well, that was just a case of he didn't really make a mistake there. He just went a little bit wide in the bales. Maybe somebody before him had clipped one of those.
Front, yeah.
Yeah, brought it out in the track. He should have really been paying attention and cut that a little tighter, though.
Well, McGrath is clipping off laps a second faster than the second place rider Larry Ward. And Damon Huffman going through those whoops beautifully.
Not bad, and you can see what happens at the very end with some of those guys, even with McGrath. They get to the last 2 or 3 and they get bailed out by that section ending.
So our leader continues to be Jeremy McGrath in our second qualifying round here this evening. The checkers will be flying when we return. We are watching the impeccable number 1 6-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath just almost effortlessly take this track in championship form in our second qualifying heat. The battle for second with Larry Ward, number 10, and number 20, Damon Huffman. Ward on his new Team Kawasaki, Damon Huffman shifting back this year to Team Suzuki. You might say that Huffman took Larry Ward's spot on Team Suzuki. The white flag is out. And it's amazing, too, in our final lap of action, as we watch the second and third place riders, that Brock Sellard's a 125 rider, similar to Stefan Roncada in the first qualifying heat. Looks like they might pick off the transfer spot out of the initial qualifying.
And if he can do that, he's going to push Sebastian Tortelli, last week 4th place in the main, back into the semi. Now, Tortelli rode the semi last week, and it didn't seem to affect him in the main, but I don't think he wants to ride it again.
Oh, a bobble by Larry Ward. A little case job, and Damon Huffman draws a little bit closer.
This is what Damon Huffman needs. You know, he's been kind of up and down. He hasn't really gotten the results I think people expect, but these more difficult, more technical tracks with really huge loop sections are really benefiting or benefit for his style.
Jeremy McGrath is still clipping off 103.8 second laps. The second place rider, Larry Ward, is 105. The checkers are out, and Jeremy McGrath has captured his second qualifying heat in 2 weeks. Larry Ward in second place, but McGrath right there just giving a clinic here in the qualifying heat. So McGrath, we'll hear from him and Davey Coombs in a moment. Well, let's check out the results. As Larry Ward, a good second place finish. Damon Huffman in third. Brock Sellards in the final transfer spot, holding off not only Sebastian Tortelli, but also the very talented David Villeman. Let's go down to Davey.
All right, Jeremy, first of all, tell me about this helmet.
Yeah, every year at Anaheim, Troy and I kind of come up with something silly. And, you know, this year it's dingleberries are on the bottom. And, you know, I just kind of came out with the chrome, no fear stuff. And it's working. Everyone's staring.
You're right, it was working. Those are some of the fastest laps we've seen tonight. You just keep knocking them off.
Yeah, I would like to thank Yamaha and Chaparral, Mazda 800 Collect. This week we did a lot of hard work on starts, and you know, it's really, really helped because I got the whole shot that time, and I felt really confident on the gate, and last week I didn't have that.
Good job. We'll look for you in the main.
Thank you very much.
Another look at the champion before we leave you, and we'll take an inside look at Amsoil Honda's Mike LaRocco when we come back to Anaheim. While still a fledgling amateur, Jeff Stanton recognized there were two types of competitors: those who were gifted with natural ability and those who succeeded with hard work and total dedication. Jeff was in the latter group. If his counterparts practiced 2 hours a day, Stanton practiced 4. If they ran 3 miles, Stanton ran 6. He established goals and relentlessly pursued them. The dedication and perseverance paid off at 3 Supercross and 3 250 outdoor crowns. You could say Jeff Stanton never really retired. When he stopped competing, Honda immediately hired him to work with the younger riders. He's still dedicated, he still works hard, and he's still a champion. In the last 2 weeks, more than 90,000 fans have come to Edison International Field to watch Supercross, and it's time now for our semifinal number 1. 2 veterans in this field, Greg Albertine, who was a crash victim of the qualifying heat, and Jimmy Button were off and running. Number 65, Grayson Goodman, who's known for his good starts, but he follows, and there goes Greg Albertine into the lead.
That just goes to show you one mistake, and now Goodman finds himself clear back, barely inside the top 10. Albertine inherits the lead. He's got Button right there with him. This should be a fast pace out front.
Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke. So the 2 veterans get out in front early. Also Tyler Evans, Heath Voss, Phil Lawrence. They're included in this field trying to make the main event. The top 5 riders now in the semifinal rounds go directly to the main. More importantly, they get to avoid the last chance qualifier.
Avoid that at all costs, I always say.
Another look at the start.
Watch Grayson Goodman come from the left. Gets that power to the ground. Excellent. Didn't matter that he started out wide. He was still able to get in front of everybody. I don't know that you'll be able to get away with that in the main event. It worked perfect here. And out front to Albie and Jimmy Button right behind him. Remember, they got together in the heat race. The first time, it was Button going down, and 2 laps later, Albertine collected just after that corner where they got together with a lap driver, and he went off the course.
There's Jimmy Button in second place. Tyler Evans in third. Phil Lawrence, who took the place of Jeff Emig on the Edge team, is in fourth, and Grayson Goodman was able to hold on to fifth place. Jimmy Button riding smooth right now. He's starting to put the heat, too, on Greg Albertine. Over the quad they go. Albertine looks back. He's starting to get concerned.
Well, Button's close enough, and with the sound of that bike intimidating enough, that Albie's looking over his shoulder here and there.
Here comes Button. Good clean pass. Albertine tries to cut. And in the whoops, Albertine, what a job, has the angle. They rub a little plastic.
That was just good thinking by Albie. He knew here comes Button again.
We've got a great semifinal race underway. Jimmy Button versus Greg Albertine.
I had a feeling these guys would go at it. They're both aggressive. They both want to win this thing, get up there on the podium, take some confidence into the main event. Albie had a great line through the whoops. He was able to take advantage of a little mistake he made. But Button was just more aggressive, came right back at him.
Button's only podium last year came right here in Anaheim. It was a third place finish. His last second place was in Atlanta back in 1998. But right now, he's in good position to make that main event for tonight.
Button's one of those guys that can finish 8th, and people can say, well, I don't know, that's about how he was running. But he's also one of those guys that can jump in there and lead a race for a long time, finish on the podium, and belong up there as well. He's hot and cold. When he's hot, he's a lot of fun to watch because he's so tall.
Grayson Goodman in fourth and Heath Voss in fifth. Corey Potter would be on the bubble in sixth. You see Jimmy Button doing the quad in the background.
Right there, Grayson just getting shoved back another position. So that should take him, he's got to finish in the top 5 to go straight to the main event out of the semi.
You've got to give some credit where credit's due here to number 33, Heath Voss out of Ohio. Every dime comes right out of his own pocket. He is a true blue privateer. Not an independent team privateer, which also gets privateer money according to the rules. This guy pays for it all out of his pocket.
It really tells the story when you go out there and walk through the pits and see who's working on their own bike, putting the gas in it.
He's selling T-shirts on the corner to pay for it.
In their own box van versus somebody stepping out of one of their 18-wheeler big rigs with everything handled. Yeah, I agree with you. Our Heath Voss is a true privateer.
He got into the main event last week in the opening round, taking second place in the last chance qualifier. If he holds on true here, he'll transfer to the main event and not have to worry about the LCQ. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Anaheim, California, where number 12, Jimmy Button, is on his final lap. And what lap times he's posting? Comparable maybe to Jerry McGrath's.
103 lap times his past couple of laps. And I was talking about Jimmy running hot and cold. And when he's running hot, he's got the speed to get up there and run with the best. Right now, 103 matches the best lap of McGrath and Kevin Windham in their heat races. Keep this up.
Jimmy Button, David, looking for that checkered flag right now as he whips through the whoop section. Lapper getting out of the way, looking very smooth. Button, Albertine still in second place with Tyler Evans in third. Heath Voss and Grayson Goodman right now have the best shot at getting directly to the main. And here we go with a little can-can move from Jimmy Button. Jimmy out of Phoenix, Arizona. He was a teammate of Jeremy McGrath's on the very first Chaparral Yamaha team, and he takes the checkered flag for the semifinal round. So a very nice run for Jimmy Button. It's got to be a good confidence builder. Final transfer spot battle. Heath Voss, Grayson Goodman. That's Tyler Evans coming across in third. Voss in fourth. And Grayson Goodman Number 65 should come over that finish line next. If he does, he has the final transfer spot. There's 65.
What happened was Phil Lawrence came up behind Grayson. They got together in the corner. Phil went in and made a last-ditch effort. They both bobbled a little bit. It looked like Grayson came out on the better end.
Let's check the action of that final transfer spot right now. Here's Grayson Goodman. Whoa.
Yeah, Phil went in there he wanted to go right to the main. Forget that last chance qualifier. Luckily, they had enough time on the next rider coming through that Grayson was able to still get that transfer spot.
5 more riders advancing to our main event. Let's take a look at the official results now. Grayson Goodman, number 65, really in a lucky position there. Jimmy Button, Greg Albertine, Tyler Evans, Heath Voss, and Grayson Goodman. Let's check in with Davey Coombs.
Jimmy, that was a solid semi-ride, but I got to ask you about that can-can. That's got to be the biggest, farthest one you ever pulled.
I think the only one might have been farther to be out of Glamis in the dunes, but I know that jump's a big jump, and I felt really comfortable out there, and the crowd was cheering me around when I was getting around to Albie, so I just wanted to, give a little bit back to those guys. They're great here in Anaheim.
Good luck at the main.
Thank you.
Our second semifinal lineup has Sebastian Tortelli, David Villeman, Nicholas Way, a 125 rider on a 250, and Ricky Carmichael. This looks like a qualifying heat. As they start to get ready to rev them up, the 30-second card is up. When it goes sideways, we'll have 5 to 10 seconds and the gate will drop. And these guys will be gunning for the first top 5 positions to get into the main event. We're sideways. The revving starts. Let's tune into the action. David Villeman gets the hole shot here in the semifinal round. Villeman has been so fast in the early going of the Supercross season that the bad starts have been the only things, David, that held him back.
Well, the good thing is that 20-lap final, the fatigue that starts to set in around lap 12, 13, he's able to come through traffic. Last week he got a horrible start, was able to work his way up pretty far in the standings.
Sebastian Waugh, number 31. Carmichael is in 5th spot now. That's the final transfer spot.
Look at Villeman starting to pull away already. Villeman's so impressive to the whoop section, which they're approaching now.
The veteran Kyle Lewis in 3rd after the first lap of action. Tortelli in 4th, Carmichael in 5th, and Way in 6th position.
Carmichael gets to the whoop section pretty clean that time. I think the key right there is, I call that a change up. You have to go through there and take a little something off and not take a big risk through there every time. Back off a little bit, try to make it more consistent, go fast everywhere else on the racetrack.
Kyle Lewis in 3rd, Sebastian Tortelli in 4th. Tortelli, we should see some action right here. Ricky Carmichael is right on his tape.
Yeah, what a tough semi. You hate to be a privateer and land in this one. There's 5 good riders in the starting line.
Here's Waugh in 2nd place. We've actually got a 4-way battle for 2nd place right now. Kyle Lewis starting to pull up on 2nd place. The former Japanese national champion Lewis is back in the United States. He's raced 14 years in the professional ranks.
It's safe to say he has some experience out there and knows what it takes to get to the main event. He better use it because he's got Tim Ferry back there, he's got Carmichael back there, guys that can come up and still catch it before the end of this race.
Number 31, Waugh, running for the Planet Honda team. He won the LCQ last week and placed 17th in the main event. Right now, he's starting to pull ahead now.
And Tortelli has gone off the racetrack just behind these guys. Lewis is down.
Kyle Lewis, number 112. Let's take a look and see how this happened. Villeman in the lead.
I believe this is the same corner where Tortelli had his problem. So we'll take another look, see what happened. There's Tortelli in the air over the double. Lewis is in front, washes out. Tortelli has nowhere to go, right over the top of the berm.
And Carmichael gets a break, not being too close.
Squeezes right through, picks up 2 positions, didn't have to do anything except just stay out of trouble.
We'll have more action from the EA Sports Supercross at Edison International Field in Anaheim, California. As our leader here in the 2nd semifinal round is David Villeman, number 934. Villeman increasing his lead on Sebastian Waugh. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Anaheim, California. As the race to the checkers is on here in the second semifinal round, Ricky Carmichael has passed Sebastian Waugh, moving into second place.
And Carmichael had a pretty lousy start going in the semi. He's had a little bit of luck. He's also ridden steady. He's worked his way right into second place, but he's 11 seconds down from our leader, Villeman.
So it's Carmichael. Waugh getting quite a battle right now from Nick Way, number 23. This is Way's first race of the year. He's a 125 Eastern rider who decided to tune up on things here in Anaheim on the 250 machine. He's going to run 3 250 races before going back to his championship competition in the 125 East. So it's Carmichael, number 4, in second place behind Villeman. Sebastian Waugh trying to hold on. Nick Way in fourth. Sebastian Tortelli. He's now moving up the ranks as well.
Well, here's the problem for Nick Way in his first ride on a 250. Look at what's going on behind him. Tortelli and Ferry fighting with each other. That gave Way a little bit of space. But if these guys both get around Nick Way, which if you look at past results, they should be able to, that would put Way into the last chance qualifier, not where he wants to be.
We've only got 1 lap to go, though. Would this be something that Team Honda's Sebastian Tortelli having to go to an LCQ? The white flag is out. And so a great battle is underway here in the semifinal round to see who will have to go to the LCQ. There's the Tim Ferry cutting inside of Nicholas Way. Can Way, though, hold off Sebastian Tortelli? Sebastian Waugh, number 31. He's looking very confident. The French-Canadian. Tim Ferry, that was a good gutsy move as Ferry had to come from way back. David Villeman just continues to run smooth out in front.
And Tortelli, it looks like just over these guys' shoulder, has picked up the spot on Nick Way. That's the final transfer spot. Nope, that's in 6th place. Still not good enough.
Tim Ferry is the key. There's our leader, David Villeman, who just came across. David Villeman wins the semifinal round. Sebastian Waugh, Tim Ferry holding off Sebastian Tortelli. The results of the second semifinal round, David Villeman having very few problems winning it. Ricky Carmichael in second, Jean-Sebastian Waugh third, Tim Ferry and Sebastian Tortelli advancing to the main event, sending the 125 rider Nick Way on to the LCQ. Let's get out of Davey Coombs.
David, after some problems in your heat race, you look like you really settled down in the semi. Real fast ride.
Yeah, Miami put a great shot, and I could ride my own race, you know, with nobody in front of me, so I can try the new line. And for sure, I feel more comfortable than in his race.
If you started with Jeremy, do you think you could finish with him?
Yeah, I did some good race in this winter with him, and my goal now is to ride with him also in a US Championship, and hopefully with a good start, maybe I can do very good tonight.
His first full season in America, David Villeman, and if he gets a start, look out. He's got the smooth style as we see here, David.
Heel clicker for the fans off that big quadruple jump. He's got the line through the whoops. His timing seems to be just right.
Okay, more action from Edison International Field in Anaheim, California with EA Sports Supercross coming your way next. ESPN's coverage of EA Sports Supercross is being brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and the 2000 Honda race team, Honda Ride Red. We're back in Anaheim, California, where we've just received official notification that it is indeed the second consecutive sellout for Supercross. 45,050 fans here in Anaheim. Be a part of Supercross history. For the first time ever, you can see Supercross live in your home via cable pay-per-view. This year, the final race of the season at Las Vegas will be televised in its entirety live on May 6th. Also, a festive race. Las Vegas will include that 125 shootout. While we were away, Nick Way, James Pavoni topped the field in the last chance qualifier. They get the final 2 gate positions at the 20 rider gate. Shane King, a former world motocross champion, goes home with the Racer X gas card award. 125s are getting ready at the gate. For a 125 update, let's go to Davey.
One of the riders we won't be seeing tonight in the 125 main event is actually the defending champion, Nathan Ramsey of the Split Fire Pro Circuit team. Nathan came into the season ready to wear the #1 plate for the first time in his career, but unfortunately got a bad break.
Yeah, I was practicing a couple days before Christmas at the Kawasaki track, and I was just trying to be real aggressive doing my motos and stuff, and just hit a little jump and went straight over the bars, and somehow I hit my thumb and broke it. I didn't even know it was broke at the time, but found out it's called a Bennett's fracture, and had to have a little surgery on it. So right now I'm just trying to recover and get ready for the East Coast.
Now we'll get to see against Ernesto Fonseca, Travis Pastrana, that whole East Coast wrecking crew.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, everybody's hyping it up, and I'm just glad to be able to have an opportunity. Like, you know, I just missed out on the West Coast, so I can go East Coast and try to, you know, give it my all at that series. And it's going to be a lot of fast guys. My teammate, you know, Nick Way, and then Ernesto, and all those guys. It's going to be fun.
Any frustration with not being able to wear the #1 plate?
Yeah, of course. You know, I look at my motorcycle, and it looks so good with the #1, and I want to run it, but it's okay. I think, you know, everybody knows, and I don't really have to do that to show anybody. So I just go out with number 24 on the East Coast and try to do the same thing.
As the Stars are dropping out of the field here in the 125 West, the veteran and teammate of Nathan Ramsey's, Talon Bolin, is getting ready. It spells opportunity for all the riders as we get set now for the 125s. Future superstars of the sport coming up next. Welcome back to Anaheim, California, as we get set for the 125 main. There's Danny Smith, number 32, one of the favorites, you'd have to say, David Bailey, going into this main event.
Well, I like what I saw earlier in his heat race. He was one of the only 125s to jump that big quadruple jump, and he also had a pretty good little run going through that whoop-de-doo section that pretty much everyone's been having troubles with tonight, especially the 125s. He was skating across the tops and making up time.
David Pingree and Casey Lytle come out of the heats as winners with Danny Smith right there. Roderick Tiane making his first main event of the year 2000. Christopher Gossler, Talon Bolin. But a lot of young talent. In the first week of action, we saw over half the participants in the 125 main event with triple digits. It's get nervous time. The main event in round number 2 from Anaheim, California for the 125s is just about ready to go. The 30-second board is up. All kinds of anticipation now as it goes sideways, and let's check out the start of the 125s. A big crash with Pingree going into the berm.
It's Pingree, Casey Lytle looked like got in there.
And Schnell, Casey Lytle and Greg Schnell, 3 of the favorites.
So now Billy Payne of Pro Circuit, number 195, inherits the lead. Looks like his teammate, Talon Bolin, may jump in there and steal second. Well, that's the 2 favorites right off the bat in the first corner. Pingree, the winner of his heat. Casey Lytle, the winner of his heat. They're both coming from last now.
Number 55 is Christopher Gossler. 7-11, Talon Bolin. Nice move by Gossler to get by. Number 55.
Well, I thought this 125 West was blown wide open with the 2 favorites out. Well, now the 2 more favorites that are here, they're out, having to come from behind. So it's just a free-for-all out front.
Well, check that start out again as it really became a mess on the outside berm for David Pingree.
A couple of riders getting anxious in the opening lap. One of them gets shoved completely out over the berm.
Robbie Horton, number 61. Here's the start now once again. 35 is Pingree, gunning for that hole shot.
You see right there, Pingree got into that corner too hot, even if he were by himself. Lytle got in there and gave him a little nudge just to make sure that he went down. There it is from another angle. You see right from the middle, Lytle and Pingree together coming in there hot. I think what happened was Lytle came in, didn't let off. Pingree couldn't get far enough to the inside to get into the line he wanted, was forced wide, and the both of them ended up going down. Looks like Pingree got up a little bit quicker, and he's already, he's worked his way up into the top 15.
So all kinds of riders battling for the YahooSports.com Whole Shot Award, a $500 bonus here in the 125s. And we see Billy Payne, who took a 10th place in the opening round, is out in front here tonight. The pro circuit rider got a good start in 4th, moved into 3rd, and then on lap 5, he crashed to 15th on the next lap. But Billy Payne's trying to hold on to the lead right now. Check out more crashing action.
Gosler, number 55 on the outside, wasn't doing anything wrong. Robbie Horton came in there, hit a braking bump with that back end. He couldn't get on the brakes. He was on the front wheel, the rear wheel off the ground.
Robbie Horton trying to battle back into the action, number 61 right now.
Jumps into that quadruple jump. He was just trying to go for the triple, over jumped it a little bit.
It's Isaiah Johnson, I believe, in front of him. Yes, Isaiah Johnson, number 68.
Over that over-under bridge, a deep breath through that corner because they got to go through these whoops. The 125 guys, especially the leader, Billy Payne, all he's doing is groups of 2. Jump 2, 2, all the way through there. That's as fast as he can go. It seems like if they try to go any faster, they get into trouble.
Horton starting to pick up some space. And look at cutting inside. Number 717, Yuri Dostal. Boy, what a three-way battle we've got. Isaiah Johnson, Horton, and Dostal.
While these guys are battling, Danny Smith worked his way around Talon Bolin into 2nd place.
Out in front, Payne, though, with a 2.9-second lead here in the early going with 12 laps to go.
Lap times are about 3 seconds slower.
Our leader, Billy Payne, number 195 from Simi Valley, California. Last year, his best effort was a 6th here at Anaheim, David. He got a lucky break at the start. And there's Talon Bolin, who's having his best 125 Supercross race.
All these guys are having quite a ride right now, wondering where Pingree is. Have no idea who went down in the first corner. Probably just have to assume it was Pingree and some of the pre-race favorites. Either way, they're enjoying this look at the lead. Even though Bolin is in 3rd right there, jumping to the outside, he can still look up there and see his teammate Payne in the lead. And they're starting to say their lap times are quite a bit slower than the 250s, partly because getting through that whoop section and over that big quadruple jump. The only guy in the top 3 that's jumping it is this kid right here, number 32, Danny Smith. He's approaching that section here in a minute.
7-11 is Talon Bolin. Incidentally, Pingree is now in 8th place. He's just fighting back to get as many points as he possibly can. Billy Payne, our leader, number 195, looking for his very first Supercross victory. Bolin in 2nd place with Danny Smith right there.
Look at the timing of the leader. 2, 2. It's the only way he can get through there. And behind him, Danny Smith has got a little bit faster pace, and he's got that quadruple jump up his sleeve. That's where he's making time, and there's plenty of time left in this race for him to overtake the leader.
Danny Smith is chopping off a lap of 106.7. It's 107.5 for our leader, Billy Payne.
Danny Smith coming up a little short right there. He still recovers nice.
Danny Smith's best Supercross, a 2nd place at Indianapolis last year in the 125 East. He had a 3rd at Daytona and also a 2nd place in Atlanta back in '98. He's looking for a victory here in the 125s tonight. We'll be right back. After carnage at the beginning of our 125 main event, it's turning into quite a race right now. Our leader is Billy Payne, number 195. Danny Smith of FMF Honda is number 32 in second place. And this is last week's winner, David Pingree, who was involved in some of that carnage in turn 1. He was probably around 18th coming out of that David Bailey, but is now already moved up to 6th place.
And looking at where he is on the racetrack, he's got a couple of riders right in front of him. And then a little gap, and then you can see Talon Boland running in 3rd. So that should keep him inspired.
The top 3 riders running in the 106 frame, and the leader is down, number 195, Billy Payne. Payne goes down. So Danny Smith has now taken over the lead.
And there goes Pingree, so he'll pick up another position, and watch what happens to Billy. Coming out of this corner, he's got a funky little bump. He's got a wheelie over, then a double jump.
And cases the double jump.
Didn't get over it clean. He took a little knock on his head, too. It looked like his head smacked into the handlebars.
There goes Danny Smith by, and Talon Boland would be the next bike that gets by him. Horton, Dostal, Pingree, all in the mix now, as we have 8 laps to go in our 125 main event. There's Danny Smith, number 32, and Danny Smith, who last week got the whole shot and led for the first time in his Supercross career. He led the first 5 laps, I believe that was it, before our eventual winner, David Pingree, took over.
It's different this week, too. For him to inherit the lead and work his way up and then inherit the way he just did, he's come from behind. Now he feels like he's the guy in control. Last week leading, he had 4 or 5 guys breathing down his neck. Put a lot of pressure on him. He seemed to pump up, ride a little tight for a couple of laps before he recovered. And that's when he dropped back. He should be able to hang on to the lead here unless David Pingree pulls something out of the bag.
Danny Smith working very hard on his starts in the offseason as we take a look at Talon Boland in 2nd place. And our 3rd place rider, number 61, Robbie Horton. The battle for 4th is on. Yuri Dostal and David Pingree. Dostal last year on a Suzuki. This year he's riding the red bike.
You can see Pingree right there behind Dostal. He has found a pretty good mixture, I would say, of panic and patience. I know those two don't go together, but when you crash in the first corner, you're starting basically last. The first idea is to just pin it and try to get up there as quickly as possible. But he's been smart. He's actually, at times, he could have got in there and been real physical and bumped the guy out of the way, but he waited until it was a time when he was safe. He didn't want to go down again. Now he finds himself with a chance at the podium.
As he experienced in the qualifying heats, he is very fast on all of the parts of the track with the exception of the quad.
I think partially he hasn't been able to jump that because he's been in traffic. See, once he gets in the clear, if he starts doing it, he may have to start doing it if he wants to win this thing bad enough. But I have a feeling Pingree is looking at the big picture, and to try to just be on the podium tonight would be pretty good salvation for going down in the first corner.
Our leader, Danny Smith, hopping back on his bike.
Well, that puts a whole new paint job on things. Now Pingree can see Danny Smith. This is after the quad, Art. He gets into that slick stuff right there. Anywhere it's shiny, it's slick, as he just found out. He's still in the lead, but they're all on his tail. Actually, Boland got around.
Boland did get around.
Right there.
Right there, number 711. And our new leader, our 3rd leader of the 125 main event with 5 laps to go, Talon Boland. His brother Tyson, a winner here in '86. Last year, he got injured in practice before the season started. Actually, it was right before the first race of the season, the day before, and he was out for the entire Supercross season. Mostly known as an outdoor motocross rider, coming back over from the GPs in Europe. It had been a long time since he had seen a Supercross track, David Bailey.
Yes, it has, and he has worked hard at it, obviously. He finds himself in the lead here. His timing looks much better. You can see what it looks like. Danny Smith jumping that quadruple jump behind him, picking up just a little bit of time, but if Talon's fast enough everywhere else, it won't matter.
We still have plenty of time with 5 laps to go, coming up with a finish line jump for Danny Smith to catch up should Boland make a mistake. Boland presenting a very exciting challenge to Ricky Carmichael in the outdoor season before that Unadilla crash that took him out for several races. We'll be right back to Anaheim in a moment. Welcome back to Anaheim and what should be a barn-burning finish here in the 125 main. Talon Bolin has the lead, but Danny Smith in second spot is not that far away with 4 laps to go. Now it's 3 laps to go as they come over the jump, the finish jump. There's 32 in second place. Danny Smith doesn't want to throw it away because he's got a good shot at the points championship. But the guy on the move has been David Pingree. In 18th spot, Pingree has moved all the way up to 4th.
This is the double jump where the leader went down earlier, Billy Payne. Here goes Horton.
Here's
Pingree.
Robbie Horton, number 61. David Pingree, number 35, is right behind him. We're going to have a showdown here for 3rd place.
If Pingree can get around Horton and put himself on the podium, that may even surprise him, especially when he's laying there in the first corner. All these things are going through your mind, and podium is the least of it. Just trying to get back up and salvage some points, and fortunately for David Pingree, there's been some carnage out front, guys making mistakes, and it's allowed him to stay within striking distance of that 3rd place.
He stayed within his style. He hasn't gotten impatient and tried to override in trying to get back up to the field, which many riders would do, coming from 18th spot.
Well, if you asked Pingree if he'd be happy with 3rd or 4th before the race, the answer would be absolutely not. But now, I think he'd be pretty happy with the fact that he has worked his way this far into contention.
The 2 Suzukis now fighting for 3rd place. Robbie Horton has the advantage right now, number 61. David Pingree is knocking on the door. Talon Bolin's still our leader with Danny Smith in 2nd place. But here's where the action is with less than 2 laps to go in our 125 main event, round 2 for our EA Sports Supercross Series. Horton's doing a good job.
Well, he's just riding a good, consistent race. He's not worried too much about Pingree just yet.
Last year, he led the first 7 laps at New Orleans.
As long as he doesn't make a major mistake, it's going to be real tough for Pingree to get around. There's Bolin getting the white flag. Boy, this is nervous time.
Bolin in the lead, the last lap, but look at the interval right there with Danny Smith. Just a blink of the eye, and Smith would take over.
The only place I can see Smith with an opportunity to get by is over that quadruple jump. If he can get close enough, he could make the pass right there, and there wouldn't be enough time for Talon to retaliate.
Final lap action in the 125s. Can Talon Bolin pick off a victory?
You see different styles through there. Seems to be about the same in terms of speed through there, but a completely different line. They're approaching the first triple, then they'll get to the quadruple.
Talon Bolin holding on. Here's the corner. Let's see what happens now with Danny Smith. Will he make his move right now? He goes for the quad, picks up some space, just on his tail, but not quite close enough before the lead. Into the inside. Danny Smith. Here comes Fallon. Talon Bolin, the checkered flag, and a great race to the checkers. The battle for 3rd, Robbie Horton and Pingree, I think, edged him out. What a great race for Talon Bolin.
Surprises me a little bit, Art, that Talon went wide in the corner before the finish. Smith had the right idea, but he would have really had to be a jerk to go in there and make that stick. He would have had to knock Talon down.
Talon Bolin holding on for the victory with Danny Smith putting all kinds of leaping pressure on him. And let's check out the official results now to see who hits the podium. Robbie Horton edging out David Pingree for 3rd place. Yuri Dostal, an impressive top 5 performance. Lionel Schnell, Tien, Elliott, Gosler rounding out our top 10 as we look forward to hearing from Davey Combs down in Victory Circle once Talon Bolin gets over there. Justin Bucklew finishing in 15th spot. Davy's caught up with him, and after that breathtaking finish, what does he have to say, Davy?
Oh, man, Talon, I got to tell you, I'm probably dating both of us here right now. But the last time you won one of these races, who did you beat?
Jeremy McGrath 10 years ago from this year, you know. And, well, I can't tell you, my goal this year wasn't necessarily winning the title, just winning one race, trying to get a top 3 overall, and I didn't know it would come even my second race, you know. Rode so smart and consistent. When the race came to me, then I gave it everything I had. So, oh, man, it's a great feeling, you know. I can't explain it.
Well, tell me one more thing. Tell me about the last turn. That was close.
Man, I knew he was doing the quad. I heard him coming down the inside, so it was a gamble. I let him come there, and then I tried to get a good drive, and sure enough, it worked. You know, for me, I know it's only one Supercross win, but for me to come back from Europe, 10 years not riding Supercross, and achieve this goal is something so special to me, I'll never forget this day.
After 2 rounds of action in 125s, it's Pingree coming from 18th to 4th, gaining enough points to retain the points lead by 3 over Danny Smith in second place. Talon Bolin shotguns up to 3rd, 1 point behind Danny Smith. What a race we've got on our hands, David Bailey.
That was something else, and right down to the final corner, that's what you always want to see. The guy waiting the checkered flag on who's it going to be. Danny Smith went in there and made the right move, but Talon countered it beautiful. And I was wondering why he went wide, but he seemed to have that in his mind. He was going to be able to square him off.
And the happy face of Talon Bolin, whose last win was in 1991 in Houston. Jeremy McGrath on the 250s are next. While Jeremy McGrath tries to become the 8th rider to have at least 1 sweep on a season, we're checking out the action behind our leader McGrath and Villeman in second place. That's Kevin Windham, number 14, in pursuit of Ricky Carmichael.
Now Button has joined this battle. Last week it took Button a little bit longer to work his way to the front from a bad start. Here he's got an opportunity that he can see 3rd right there, and it's early in the race. Remember how fast he was in his semi, turning the same lap times as Windham and McGrath. 103s at the time was fast. Now it's come down to 102.
Carmichael, number 4, Windham, number 14. Here comes Button to the inside, number 12. Tries to get the pass, and Windham slips through. Button having trouble in the whoops.
And there goes LaRocco.
Mike LaRocco, number 5, moving past Jimmy Button. That'll be a battle right now on the straightaway against that 4-stroke. Windham, LaRocco, Button. Some great racing. Button cuts in front of LaRocco now. Back and forth they go.
LaRocco just did a good job to keep that bike up on 2 wheels. We saw the leader of our 125 main event go down, doing the same thing LaRocco just did, but he's so strong, just muscled his way out of it.
Kevin Windham making the podium in the first round. Is in 5th position behind Ricky Carmichael, number 4. And number 15, Tim Ferry, in good position for a 250 podium.
Awesome freight train battle here for 3rd place. Ferry leading it, but they are dropping more time to Villeman. 7 seconds back now, 8 seconds on Jeremy.
Jeremy has time to stop for a sandwich. There's Windham making the move on Button.
And there goes LaRocco.
Once again, LaRocco coming in to take the both of them. Mike LaRocco with a great move in front of Windham and Button. My goodness, back and forth we go.
LaRocco coming up short again.
Here's Ferry. The race is on between Button and Ferry. Number 12 cuts to the inside.
What an exchange that last half a lap. Button works his way all the way into 3rd. Ferry made a mistake, which helped set that up. But LaRocco, I think, and Button are the fastest of this group right now.
Ferry trying to hold off number 5, Mike LaRocco. Boy, this is some great racing.
Looks like if LaRocco can just hold his pace, wait for that whoop section, that's where he's able to make up his time. See if he can go to the inside of Ferry.
LaRocco leading Kevin Windham, number 14. It's Button, Ferry, LaRocco, and Windham.
Watch LaRocco to the inside.
Mike LaRocco trying to squeeze through Ferry. They rub some plastic.
He almost made that double pass again.
This is a great tribute to the track builders, David Bailey. Did he stall out?
Yes, he landed, cased it hard right on the top of the jump, stalled the engine. And there goes that whole freight train battle that he was at the front of a moment ago.
So Jimmy Button dropping out of 4th place. And our leader continues to be Jeremy McGrath, who's going to airmail this one in. David Villeman in 2nd place.
Villeman is about the length of that whoop section behind now. And you know, I'm impressed. Ricky Carmichael has just ridden a steady pace and is still ahead of this battle right here in 3rd.
Button was part of the battle before this replay.
Well, Rocco goes to the inside, and he's going to not get the drive to jump this double. Button figures, I'll try it.
Ouch.
Try to bump start it right there. Kevin just squeezing by on the inside. Rocco finally works his way around Ferry. It looks like it's going to stick this time. And next in his sights is Carmichael. He's got about 2 seconds on him.
Rocco, Ferry, and then Kevin Windham, and Larry Ward is starting to pull up on Kevin Windham as we take a look at number 5, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, after the 2nd place finish and only 3 points behind Jeremy McGrath, is trying to make his way to get on the podium, but he has to beat a steady Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael, very impressive.
Well, after that 8th place last week, he was disgusted. I think he thought he was a little more ready than that. Physically, it was a wake-up call. So now he decided, I've got to ride smart, conserve energy, not take big chances, and seemed to have gotten all that over with in practice in his heat race.
Can Ricky Carmichael hold on to this final podium spot with 9 laps to go? We'll be right back and find out. EA Sports Supercross continues from Anaheim, California. The main event is underway with Jeremy McGrath in the lead, the Frenchman David Villeman in 2nd. They pull away from Ricky Carmichael in 3rd. Carmichael is trying to gain his first 250 podium. Right behind him is the charging Mike LaRocco.
You know what I'm noticing here, Art, is these guys approach the over-under, and right after that, the whoop section where LaRocco has got that inside line down the right side. That's where I'd look for him to make his move on Carmichael. Everywhere else, they're about even, but this section right here, they're approaching. Watch LaRocco on the right.
Carmichael goes to the left. LaRocco zipping through the whoops. Good call, David Bailey. He cuts to the inside. Can Carmichael come back like he did on McGrath in the 1st round? Oh, LaRocco, what a move.
That's just strength. You've got to go in there. You've got to commit. You've got to go in there and just pray a little bit that you don't stick that front wheel down to the bottom of one of those bumps, because if you do, you're over the bars. Carmichael's already taken 2 trips over the bars tonight. I don't think he's willing to take more chances through there. He just gave that to Mike.
Love to get a good look at that in the whoops. It's Mike LaRocco on the right, Carmichael on the left.
And Carmichael made a little bit of a mistake, but still he's out wide, and LaRocco had that whole thing under control. He's got to be, other than McGrath out front, the fastest rider through that whoop section, which seems to be the big separator out here tonight. Everywhere else, everyone's pretty even.
Ricky Carmichael was looking for his first podium on a 250. Mike LaRocco has shoved him back a notch. And LaRocco very much in the points race, should he land on the podium. He's turning about the same speed of laps as David Villeman in 2nd place. It's a 103.8 to a 103.6 for Villeman.
McGrath, just to one-up these guys, had to drop it down to 102. Seems to be able to do whatever he needs to keep that gap growing.
Larry Ward and Tim Ferry. And then there's Jimmy Button in backup Ward.
I think Larry went through quite a bit with that back, just trying to get through round 1. Went through some treatment, and I think it's a pretty good recovery. You know how bad the back, your low back, that's the crux. I mean, that's where everything comes from. And if it's bothering you, there's really no way around it.
Especially a tall rider like Larry that gets patted on the rear quite a bit on the whoops.
It could be probably hurting in the last 5 laps of this race. That'll be obviously to the advantage of Button.
McGrath leading by 11.4 seconds. LaRocco 23.3 back of the leader. So a pretty well-defined 1, 2, and 3 here in our second round at Anaheim. But 4, 5, 6, and 7 yet to be determined. Button having trouble in the whoops, giving some breathing room to Larry Ward. Let's go back to our leader now, Jeremy McGrath, who's run a near-perfect race.
There he is, perfect on the downside. He doesn't even need good suspension. He doesn't even compress it. Right on the top of these whoops. Every lap, no mistake. Doesn't even need to put his foot down for balance through the corner. You come out of here, wheelie over that little step up. Over the double, no problem. Right onto the downside.
Only 2 laps to go for Jeremy McGrath to gain number 62.
He is so solid. I mean, you can't tell which lap is which. It almost looks like we're showing the same lap over and over again, and his lap times show the same thing. Not much of a fluctuation between 102 and 103 area.
You know, a lot of people said he took the off-season off, but he really didn't. He went 7 times to Europe to race and came back in the best condition probably of his life. But the interesting thing about it is the only change on this bike from the 99 version was the ignition. Everything else is the same, exact same settings that they ran last year. And all he had to do was get his own self into shape, as they say in the South.
And, you know, that time off as he gets the white flag really motivated him. I think he realized how important racing was to him. Got him hungry again. And he brought Gary Simmons in, got himself in great shape. Just when you look at Jeremy, he looks like he means business. He looks like an athlete. And in times before, he's looked a little smooth, a little round. And now he looks cut. He means business. He is giving these guys a beating. I'm wondering if he can be beat this year on.
Just as was mentioned at the beginning of tonight's show, that 1996 record with 13 straight wins might just be broken in the year 2000. Jeremy will become the 10th rider to sweep a doubleheader. It is the first time in his career he has won twice in the same season in the same city. At the top of the hour, we mentioned that Anaheim was his house. It still is. Pure excellence. Jeremy McGrath takes the checkered flag for the second time in 2 rounds in the year 2000. It is his second win of the year, his 62nd win of his career. Still battles going on, though, as David Villeman is pretty free and clear for second place. Mike LaRocco in third. But right now, we've got the battle for 6th and Larry Ward involved, number 10 on Team Kawasaki.
His had to reach down deep. I know he's not 100%. But Button, hey, you got to worry about Button when he's back there, and Larry was able to hold him off.
There's the checkers for Larry Ward in 6th position, Jimmy Button in 7th. Checking out our winner, Jeremy McGrath. Win number 6 for Jeremy here in his own backyard, and we'll be back to hear from him after these words. ESPN's coverage of EA Sports Supercross has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and the 2000 Honda race team, Honda Ride Red, and by the U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest army in the world. Be all you can be. And by Suzuki. During Suzuki Fest 2000, get $400 worth of free accessories and great financing on selected models.
All right, Jeremy, another great day at the office here at Anaheim. Yeah, it's the second week in a row, and, you know, I got to give it to the Yamaha guys this week. We were working on starts 2 straight days, and, you know, last week I got on the line. I wasn't really confident. My bike has so much power that it was getting some wheelies, you know, out of the gate. So we worked on starts this week, made some adjustments, and my bike was a rocket out of the line.
We figured at the beginning of the race to see Kevin Windham up there. Instead, it was your fellow Yamaha rider, Villeman, but you made short work of him, too.
Well, David was riding good. Got to hand it to him, too. He's struggled with his starts, and he came out strong tonight. And, you know,
just the race, you had to go out there, take your time because the track was really slick. And just took my time, made a pass over here on a line that I was saving for the main event, and just kind of tried to ride my race.
Do you feel like you've made a mistake yet out there this year?
Well, you know, I've tried to ride as best 20-lap mains, you know, the last 2 weekends as I can and try and make as little mistakes as possible. And it seems to be working. You know, the tracks are really slick and the whoops were very big this week. So, you know, it was really easy to make a mistake. And I just try and limit my mistakes, and here I am.
Now we're going to turn here to David Villeman. David, you have to feel good about the way you rode tonight.
Yeah, I was good. You know, maybe the first 5-6 laps I was with Jeremy, but, you know, I was bad time on the hoops, and I lost too much time there. But I got a good start. I got the whole shot, and I guess maybe a little bit tight because, you know, last week I started very far away, and this week I was Jeremy, and I did not want to make mistakes, so I was tight, and I get tired a little bit in the middle of the race. But I still get second place, and it's very good for the rest of the series.
Let's take a look at the results, Davey Combs, as Jeremy McGrath picks off the victory. David Villeman, not only the whole shot $1,000, but also a valuable second place finish. Mike LaRocco hitting the podium for the second straight week. In third, Ricky Carmichael. He impressed me here tonight, taking a fourth position, and rounding out the top 5 would be Tim Ferry. Larry Ward in 6th. Let's go right back down to the victory podium and Davey.
Mike, once again, a fine ride here at Anaheim, but tonight you just didn't get that start.
No, I did exactly what I didn't want to do, and that was come out in the back in the start, and, you know, Jeremy and David got away, and I actually had a tough fight even getting up to third. I was pretty thick in the pack and struggled. The track was very slippery, so there was not a lot of passing options, and, you know, I worked my way through. It wasn't the ride I was looking for tonight, but I'll take third and work on next week.
Jeremy McGrath extends his points lead after 2 races. David Villeman vaults into third in the standings. Carmichael making it up into the top 10. LaRocco's comeback keeps him close to Jeremy, just 8 points back. And that's why he's our Army Teamwork Award winner. Mike, always popular with the fans, once again is contending on an independent team with factory support from Honda. Congratulations to Mike LaRocco, our Army Teamwork Award winner. Make your plans now to see Supercross live and in person after the 3rd round in San Diego. We go to Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix. Then it's the Houston Astrodome on the 5th, followed by Indianapolis February 12th. Jeremy McGrath hopes to continue his season-opening win streak next in San Diego. The legend of Supercross simply continues to grow. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs saying thank you so much for being with us.